Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast, and we are ready for a big Thursday show. We are grading again. Once again, report card day, handing out individual grades. We got Joey running the ones and twos today. As you mentioned, Ryan, this is the original four.
Original four, if you were here from the beginning.
Cody, Delmendo, Ryan Herrera, me, and
look at us.
Big Joe over there.
Yeah, we've been borrowing.
It's always
him to the
it's nice to be included in the original four.
Yeah, like it's always nice when Joey's a producer. Not that we don't love Sarah or Kevin or.
But Joey is
Steven,
he's the OG. He's the OG.
He's OG.
Joey's the OG, and we don't forget.
Yeah.
Hey, that means a lot.
If you were here since day one, you know. If you
All
know,
things
you know.
start at the bottom and then build their ways, and when it builds its way up, you remember the people that were there at the beginning and stuck through thick and thin.
I'm still trying to fix all our ad reads that I screwed up right before we came over here.
Although
anyways,
Joey is rusty on the show, we were late because of him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was not my fault. That
Dubs
part was
is-
not
Now,
my
that
fault.
was on me.
giving
I
us
mean,
a
we've got a lot of angry, a lot of people angry in the chat here that we're 3 minutes late on this Thursday afternoon, which I like. You know, people are hungry for their content. It's
They
cool.
expect better out of us.
That's
They're
good.
expecting Cubs content right now at 1:20 on October 19th when the Cubs aren't playing in the playoffs. They're still expecting it.
We love it.
Big of them, credit to them.
Big of Garrett to be on time, he says.
True.
Yeah. Dubs, 1 star for being late. He'll take that back when we start grading him.
That is an important question. Craig in the chat wants to know, is Ryan going to do the beer bat today?
I don't know. I haven't decided.
Here come
By
the
the way,
A's.
I think it
Colada
should be
says,
a
"Here come the
once-a-week
A's."
thing.
I wasn't
do
here
for the entire offseason.
I wasn't here
it should be
for a
once
full week. You know,
Yeah.
I missed the first 2 days of the week. So
Are we
Maybe
giving
next
out some A's today? Colada thinks we're giving out A's.
Stroman?
Not unless Ryan's grading David Ross. Am I right, chat?
Wow. Joey
Kidding.
comes
I'm
in
kidding
firing.
around.
Yeah,
I got to
just
get
gave
my
you all
yucks
this
out.
love, and you're
Yeah.
just throwing shots now, Joe.
Joey's
Come
just
on, I'm
coming.
trying to get some smiles going out of the crowd here.
Stroman and Gomes are the report cards today, and who knows, maybe our first ever 5-star scale rating for somebody in the chat. Best way to enjoy the experience, of course, sign up and subscribe for the CHGO Sports YouTube page. We appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up if you would as well. And hello to everybody that's, downloading it in normal podcast form and just listening to this. But we are live Monday through Thursday, 1:20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you excited about I think these two players are interesting players.
I think.
I especially Stroman.
I think.
It's a
Before we
lot. I think there's a lot more. It's not like Steele where we were all like A. Like
Yeah.
I think there's room
There's gonna be
here
more
for,
nuance.
for different opinions here.
I think it's like without getting too deep into it yet, like it's like one of them way outperformed expectations half the season and then fell the second half, and then one guy just consistently outperformed what we expected out of him throughout the year. I like when I did the grades, I was not if you would have told me what the grades are going to be like preseason, I probably wouldn't have. I would not have expected that to be.
I had a tougher time with these two report cards than I did whether it was just the offense, the pitching staff, or Steele and Morel. I had a tougher time with this one. Becky, by the way, saying Luke is awesome and an amazing person. That'll get you a 5-star rating, Becky.
That's how you get read.
That's one way to get yourself on the 5-star rating list.
So before we do them, should we talk about the injury updates that
Sure.
Ryan tweeted out?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you got for us, Ryan?
Let me go back and find them.
I know Michael Fulmer. What?
Cody
out for
Hoyer
the
and
next
Fulmer?
year?
Michael Fulmer had right UCL revision surgery yesterday. Yesterday. I messed up when I tweeted. It's supposed
What's
to be
that mean?
Wednesday.
What's that mean?
He's anticipated to miss 2024. So it's like it's a UCL surgery, but it's not like Tommy John is what I was told.
But he's
Like,
still out for the year.
yeah, the He
had elbow surgery's done.
Yeah, he's anticipated to be out next season. He was a free agent regardless, so he wasn't like, unless the Cubs brought him back, like he's not,
right,
I guess, technically a Cub anymore. So that does, obviously suck for him, is that he's just not going to play next year for any team. He's not going to be in any organization. But yeah, so UCL revision is a surgical technique different from Tommy John, but also used to correct an injured UCL. So
could be the last time he pitches.
Oh, he's not that old.
I know he had Tommy John like earlier in his baseball career. I don't remember exactly the year, but I know he's had it prior. So obviously to have a second Tommy John is worse because we know that that's a lot harder to come back from than just one Tommy John. So I don't know specifically like how invasive this surgery is and like what all it entails. But for it to not be Tommy John seems like a better scenario for him. But
good chance he never pitches for the Cubs again.
I think that's fair.
What was your favorite part of the Michael Fulmer era then?
Probably that White Sox game, right?
Yeah,
the striking out the side base.
Definitely that's it.
Yeah.
And we were there to see it in person.
By the way, I did upgrade my score from Morel from a B- to a B yesterday. Once I remembered the walk-off, I was like, okay.
You did say that at the very end.
Yeah, I gotta change that grade. It's an overall B.
Okay.
All right. I don't have a favorite part of the Fulmer era outside of that play because that's the only thing I can think of. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like he had until he got hurt in September, he had a really good run of just like being solid, and it wasn't. I think it was just not what the Cubs expected. I think they brought him in, obviously Brad Boxberger as well, to be like their back end veteran guys they could rely on, which they've had a lot of success with the last few years. Boxberger pretty much got hurt, like I think it was early May, and then basically didn't pitch again for the rest of the year, except for a couple times. And Fulmer just wasn't consistent enough at the back end and in the closer role or whatever. But once he kind of got some lower leverage opportunities, maybe built up a little bit more confidence again and did some other things, he settled into like a high leverage middle relief type role, like where he's coming in middle of the game, he gets in a jam like he did, that Sox game, and he puts out fires. Like I think he really did a good job in that role for the majority of the season once they moved him out, and obviously Adbert took over the closer role, and Mark Leiter Jr. and Julian Merriweather became some trusted options in the later innings that allowed Fulmer to just kind of be, whether it was the fifth inning or the seventh inning, the fourth, like he pitched in a lot of different innings, but he was the guy that, like, if guys got on or they just needed a shutdown inning or whatever in the middle of the game, like David Ross, he regained that trust from David Ross, and I think we just saw him be consistently good, right? Like he wasn't gonna, he never was gonna move back to the closer spot or any of that, but when he finally settled into that role, we just saw consistency out of him that we didn't see like that whole first month. And so I think that having him in that role obviously helped for all the summer, the whole turning around the season, all that. And then, he gets hurt in September, pitches only one time in between two different stints on the IL. So that was just a tough pill for him to swallow to end the year.
I don't think we're going to need a report card on him, though.
No. I would just...
Right? Like, that might be a player we don't have to give a full report card to.
Maybe. We'll see.
I was just going to say...
We'll see how desperate we are.
I was just going to say that Jose Cuas is the one who basically got his role after he got hurt.
Yeah.
And you saw the inconsistencies there. So, and people in the chat are always yelling about him, or we're always yelling about him in September especially, and Barb continuously tells me that he sucks and that...
And she nominates you for Bomb of the Week.
Yeah, and that the trade with Velasquez was awful and...
Well, because you were calling Jed and pushing for it.
Yeah. She also says that I was like pushing for that trade. But what the point of what I'm saying right now is that he was only doing that because Michael Fulmer was hurt. Mm-hmm. I think Jose Cuas can be better in a different role next year, especially after an offseason in the lab with all of the Cubs pitching infrastructure.
Yeah, so, Garrett points out, he said, I could see Fulmer still rehabbing with the Cubs, though. That's possible. Like,
that's possible.
I don't know exactly how all that kind of works, but
when he elects free agency, that's when I send the tweet. My favorite part was the friends we made along the way. But it hasn't been, it's not in full effect yet.
Yeah. So as far as the other injury updates we got this morning, Cody Hoyer completed the initial healing and range of motion phase of his rehab. The plan is to initiate a throwing progression starting in mid-November, but still no specific timeline to return.
That's such a bummer, man.
Yeah.
Like
that video was hard to watch. Remember
the
injury was
yeah.
just like, oh.
Yeah, so just like to recap what it was Tommy John, like right when we launched or right before we launched, something like that. He had Tommy John. So it was March 2022, and he was coming back this summer, and I don't remember, it was on a pitch, right? And he fractured his elbow.
Yeah, they were just trying to work on his command. Right? Yeah. Like the velocity was already back, and they were like, the velocity's back, now we just got to get his command, and then boom, he can contribute.
Because I remember talking to Jed and some of those guys at that time, and it was kind of like Cody's on the right track. He just, a couple more things he just wants to hammer down kind of thing. Like he just wants to be consistently good in this area before. He's like, we're not going to rush him back. Like, we're going to let him get that confidence back, that consistency, and we'll bring him up. And at the time, you're like, okay, it's June. He's still plenty of time left in the season for him to come up and contribute. Hopefully, be a good piece of the bullpen. And then he had a fractured elbow. In June 23rd it looks like. So that or he had surgery on June 23rd. I don't remember exactly the day of the injury. But then that's just like, okay, that's he misses the rest of the year, and that's 2 full seasons where he doesn't pitch in a major league game. And for a guy.
He's the guy that we all thought that if the Cubs quote unquote won the trade, the Kimbrel trade, that we'd at least have the future closer of the team, because that's what we all hoped that he could be, and this injuries.
He was the player most Sox fans were mad was included.
They weren't mad to see Madrigal go.
It was much more disappointment in you got a good arm in Cody Hoyer, and he could be your closer. Now you just hope he's able to.
And this
overcome again.
This is year 1 of arbitration for him too, right?
Let me go.
I'm pretty sure. Don't let the facts.
It's just tough. I just remember watching the video, and you didn't have to be a doctor to know it was bad, right?
Yeah.
We saw it. Somebody played it, I think, and then we pulled it up during a post game
show.
show.
I saw it
pop
up on social media, and it's
not good. We don't need to show that again.
Okay, so as far as the other ones, Brad Boxberger, who went back on the IL towards the end of the year with the right forearm strain, will begin a strength program in the next few weeks and is anticipated to begin a throwing schedule in mid-November. And then you have Nick Madrigal, who with the right hamstring strain ended his year. Ethan Roberts, still recovering from Tommy John. Brandon Hughes with the left knee issue, and Nick Birdie, who never came back from the appendectomy, which felt like it took a long time. They're anticipated to have normal off-season progressions heading into 2024 spring training. So that's good news for some of those guys, obviously, just to be able to have regular off-season, like not grinding through rehab all winter. I know that's something that Kyle Hendricks talked about. Like his whole last offseason was grinding through a rehab and the different programs they were putting him under to get him back to as close to as he could be to Kyle Hendricks. But he talked about it at the end of the year just to have a normal offseason, a normal progression, throwing all that stuff. I think that's like an underrated aspect of like just the offseason for guys, just being able to go about it how you normally do your normal routine versus like guys who are having to rehab like every day throughout a winter and just on a different schedule than what they're used to. Like that's tough. So for guys that are just trying to come back and be ready for spring training, like to know that they're going to have a mostly regular, normal offseason program is pretty big for them.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan Roberts for me is the one that I'm like very excited to see in 2024. We got a taste of him in 2022 before having to have Tommy John, and he obviously had the stuff then. It's unfortunate that he ended up having to miss all his time, but he's the one that I'm excited about. And as far as Nick Birdie, I don't know what to expect, but all I know is the guy throws gas. So I remember when he threw a 100-mile-an-hour pitch against like the Phillies this year or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were all like reacting like, when was the last time the Cubs had a 100-mile-an-hour pitch? And it was like Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah,
so,
it was I remember doing that search. I'm like, holy crap, it's been a while.
I would just say about pretty much every guy you just listed, while some still have very high upsides, the Cubs, as they build their bullpen this offseason, should not be counting heavily on any of those guys.
No.
Yeah.
You know, right? Like that. Those guys need to be the bonus plays.
Yeah.
They need to be what Hendricks was for you this season. Like, if you got something out of Hendricks, great. Yeah. Turned out you needed what you got from Hendricks. But if Ethan Roberts can pitch next year, okay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like, oh, we're locking in a spot for him. You just can't do it right now.
Right. Barb, I wasn't saying that the Cubs won the Kimbrel trade. I was saying that if Hoyer had stayed healthy and he had turned in and we got to see him progress to what we had hoped as a closer, perhaps you could say the Cubs would have eventually won that trade, considering how bad Kimbrel was for the White Sox. He was awful for the White Sox, and then he was awful for the Dodgers, and somehow he got back to where he is this year. I just want to let you know. That's what I meant.
Or you took too many edibles.
Yelling. I mean, no, I didn't take any edibles. However, I could use some. The weekend is coming up.
Hey,
anyway,
let's get to Stroman.
Okay.
Marcus Stroman report card.
All right.
You want me to go first? Is that how we're going to do it, Joey?
Sure thing.
Here's the hard part for me about Stroman. He had 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had 2 total. He had
or night and day, right?
He had the All-Star season, and then he had London on. And what I struggled with this on our report card. So people in the chat are like, well, Stroman's second half was bad, but the injury wasn't his fault, which is true. Injuries aren't the player's fault. But I also don't want to totally just pretend like it didn't happen. They were a part of his season. Like, it doesn't – I'm not holding it against him personally as what I think of the player, but if I'm grading his season, an injury-plagued season would be disappointing.
Yeah.
Not his fault, but still disappointing, right? So I thought about a lot of different things. I'm like, how can you give a guy that made the All-Star team anything but an A or a B? But then I thought, well, I still have to factor in the second half and the injury because it was part of it. He was great. He was awful. And he fought his way back. And however you want to look at what happened at the end of the season as a couple-day reliever, I went B-. I couldn't go higher than that because you can't just forget the injury and the struggles and the blister and the hip and the rib and all those things. Not his fault, but still part of his story for this season. So that's why I went B-, which is a tough grade, I think, for a guy that made an All-Star team.
Yeah. Yeah, I went even tougher, actually. Cody's up next, actually. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little
here.
Maybe I'm a little tough.
You're out of order.
Maybe I am, but I believe I went C-. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I did.
Wow.
And the reason being is that, like, yeah, you can't blame the guy for an injury, but as we said yesterday, the best ability is availability.
Yeah.
And he's a big part of why they didn't make the playoffs. And my thing is it took them so long to just put him on the injured list. So maybe I should blame the Cubs more for that than I should him, but who knows what he is telling them in terms of what his health was. I don't know, man. Like, to me, yeah, okay, he made the All-Star team. Well, you know what? Brian LaHair made the All-Star team, all right? To me, if you're going to give me a night and day season, then the best grade I can give you is a C. And I went C- because the guy, not only did he miss most of the second half, but it was even before the first half was even over that the struggles started to happen. And as someone who was on social media all the time, talking that talk, he disappeared, man. And like, I like the attitude he has and everything, and the quotes that he gives us and everything he says about the fans and stuff. And again, maybe this grade is a little too harsh. You guys are starting to make me shift a little differently. Maybe I got a little colada in me right now.
That's what I think it is.
But
he's gotten to you.
The colada influence.
To me, he is a big reason why they didn't make playoffs, man. So, and because of the fact that we're in October right now and I am struggling to get past this, that's my, like, when Luke said that we're doing Stroman, I was like, C-. I was just first gut thing, C-.
The chat's really kind of all over the place with this. I don't think any of our grades, we're going to get Ryan's in a second, which, by the way, if you're not checking out the live YouTube experience, Joey's graphics, huh? Look at how these grades are sliding into the screen.
Yeah. Besides from being out of
digital
order.
magic. Digital magic.
I think this doesn't. My grade isn't me like saying that I thought he was bad or not worth the contract or anything like that. If he's healthy, he's the second best pitcher on the Cubs.
The guy was he was pitching like a Cy Young early in the season.
And like that, the complete game against the Rays coming off the series he had. That was one of the best games of the year, right? Like, I'll give him credit where credit is due. But again, the best ability is availability. And if you're paid to be this and that in your entire career, he has pitched over 200 innings multiple times in his career. This year, 136. Like, it's just not up to the standards of how much A, we're paying him, and B, what he has done throughout his career, which was stay healthy. And again, some of that blame goes on him. Some of the blame probably goes on the Cubs for not putting him on the injured list earlier. There's a lot of factors into it, but you can say that about a lot of players, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, that's why I went C-, just because it really was a night and day like season for him. Like the first part of the season was great, second half was bad. So I commended him for I said this on previous shows, I commended him for doing his best to come back and try and help the Cubs in any way. I still don't understand why they put him back in the rotation. At first I thought, okay, they're putting him back in the rotation because he's ready, but he clearly wasn't ready. And so I don't know, like, is that on him? Like, did he want to, like, was it on him saying that, like, I'm either in the rotation or I'm not pitching at all? Is it that or what? Because, like, that just didn't make any sense to me considering how, for the most part, Javier Assad had been productive in the rotation. Like, I don't know, man.
So
it just some parts of it just rubs me the wrong way.
So here's the deal now. Now, where is Ryan going to fall? Because I was captain positive over here, and I said, well, I got a factor, and I went B-. Even Michael Collada, after hearing Cody's argument now, is thinking he thought I had a perfect grade, which, by the way, Mike Dubb said I nailed it. Credit to him. Now, Collada's thinking he might have to lower his grade because he actually agreed with Cody.
So Cody was more negative than Collada.
So, Ryan, are you going to split the difference or are you going to swing the vote one way or the other?
Yeah, let's pull it up here, Joe. I ended up with a C.
Oh, straight C.
Just right C.
Regular passing grade.
Yeah, I it was in that range of like C, C+, maybe even a B-. So, like, I don't think that. I think C- is maybe a little lower than I would go. But like I think B- going up to that high is fine. It depends on how much weight you give to like either side. And I think I just felt like right down the middle where, the first half of the season, his first 16 starts, so that was through June 20th. He had a 2.28 ERA. He was 9-4. Like, he was the Cy Young guy, right? Like we talked about Justin Steele. End of the year, like being in the
he was still the
Cy
ace.
Young race.
He was still the ace of the staff.
Marcus Stroman was the guy in that first half. Like he was the guy that we were saying, kind of going into the All-Star game until those last couple starts. That like when it, like maybe like end of June, right before that London trip, we were the one saying, or Stroman was the one that we were saying he should start the All-Star game, right? Because he was the Cubs' best starting pitcher through the first nearly 3 months of the season. And yeah, I mean, the hip injury, obviously, I think once we kind of found out a little bit more about it, we knew that he was pitching through some things, and the London trip, it was that whole weird, like going to London, coming back, like night, day, the rain, like there was a whole like couple weeks where everything was just weird. And obviously for just anyone who's under a pretty like regular routine, it was the London trip and then the smoke. That weird stuff with all that smoke, and then it was just like a bunch of different times of games. So anyone with like a regular routine is weird.
The wildfires.
To bounce around like that. But like for starting pitcher, as routine oriented as Marcus Stroman, I can understand that just bouncing around time wise does affect things. But then there's also the hip thing, and I think once we talked to him after they put him on the IL the first time, that was kind of like he had been trying to go through it, pitch through it, get this team wins and stuff. But ultimately, like, it got to the point where you look at, so he had the first 16 starts, the 7 after that, he had a 9 ERA. He had 30 earned runs in 30 innings. So it's like that's That's just over 4 innings average per start at that point. So he wasn't looking like the guy from the first 3 months. And then I think they decided at that point it was just time to address it. And I mean, that kept him on the IL for 6 weeks, especially after the rib cartilage fracture, which we still don't know exactly how that happened. I don't know if we'll ever know. But, credit to him for coming back and trying to do something at the end of the year, whether that was 100% just to kind of help the team or partially to kind of prove he was healthy and maybe going into a free agency type situation, whatever that is. Some credit to him for working his way back and getting back and trying to help.
Big of him.
But yeah, I think it's more I kind of lean on the Cody side of it. It's he had a great first half, and the second half it just was not anywhere near that level. And for me, that's why I kind of fall right in the middle. It's you were great, you're bad.
That's right.
Right in the middle. I think
we're on the same page. I think our scale is right on.
Yeah.
Whether it's B- or C-, I think we're right on. So maybe it is right. Here's my question then. Joey, I'll ask you this too. So he's got an option he can pick up. What is it, $21 million?
Something like that, yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Base is great on that. Do you want the guy back next year at $21 million? Are you hoping he picks up his option, or are you hoping he cuts that money free for the Cubs to spend somewhere else? That's another way to give the report card to look at it and be like, okay, what?
I think part of it is
was he better than average?
I think part of it is if you believe he can be more like that first half Stroman.
If he can be healthy again.
Because if you look at it like Kyle Hendricks, they're probably going to pick up that option. He's 1 year, $16.5 million, unless they kind of work out a different contract structure for him. So saying another $4.5 million for Marcus Stroman for a guy who at points in the season looks like a Cy Young candidate, that's not a whole lot more money. And it's the Cubs. They have the reason. If they're going to go into the luxury tax, they might as well go all in. And
I'm curious what the Cubs really are hoping for in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I think they want him to opt out.
If I'm the Cubs,
you think opt out because it'd allow them to keep Hendricks?
Well, keep Hendricks, and also it frees up more money for them. And I think that they're willing to go over the luxury tax this year, but at the same time, I think they
bigger fish to fry.
Well, like I said, they can restructure the Kyle Hendricks contract. They don't need to pick up his option to keep him on the Cubs. It's they can give him a 2-year deal, lesser AAV, but keep him around, right? They could do stuff like that.
Right,
to minimize
another
the
creative
money.
way to if they could potentially keep both of them.
Yeah, to minimize the money. If I'm the Cubs and I don't know what I'd expect, but if I believe he's going to opt in, I'm fine with that. If I can also believe that we're going to get more of that first half Marcus Stroman. If the Cubs are sitting there and they're not convinced that he's back to anything close to that level, then yeah, they're probably hoping he opts out. But the money to me, considering it's a 1-year deal, $21 million, whatever, the competitive balance tax is going to go up slightly this year. Again, it's the Cubs; they have the resources. The money doesn't, to me, feel like this big obstacle for the Cubs to overcome for Stroman.
What if it were another $21 million that you could throw at Shohei, though?
Well, that's the only reason I say it is that
if they're really thinking hey, we're going to go relatively all in here,
right? If they, again, I think they're going to be willing to go over the luxury tax this year, and if Stroman opts in, then they definitely will. If he doesn't, then I think that there's a way that maybe they don't. But recent history scares me. Don't yell at me, Colada. But I'm just saying, it would make things a lot easier for the Cubs front office if he does opt out.
But then they need to add 2 pitchers.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that if he does opt out, then I do think that there'll definitely be major players for the guy in Japan.
Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Yamamoto.
Or
there you go.
Or
Big Y.
I can't. I didn't want to.
Why
say
do
his
they
name
need
wrong.
to be adding
Instead
a bunch
of
of
Big Z, we're
pitchers
gonna call
though?
him
If
Big Y.
they don't bring back Stroman, I don't
It
know.
would
I
just-
feel
it
like
would-
I feel like they are sort of solid. I mean,
Well,
What are their options going into it if Stroman
Well, it's
wasn't
sort of like what we talked about yesterday with, like, you look at the rotation as constructed. It's not one that I would say going into like a playoff series like this is, we have the guys that are going to get it done.
I agree with that, but I
that's
don't
the problem.
I don't think that I don't look at it any differently if you have Stroman there. That's me.
I think I would. I think Marcus Stroman.
If Stroman was your number 3, like if you could
you
sign
feel better
Yamamoto and Stroman was your 3. Somebody in the chat just said that if Stroman is our
3, we're golden.
we're golden.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of think that too. If Stroman's your 3, Hendricks is your 4, and then it's Wicks or whoever might be maybe it's one of the young guys, even younger than that, comes up. Maybe it's Horton at some point next season if he's not traded.
But
I'm sort of with the young guys at this point, based on just what we've seen in their development. Why can't one of these guys be a middle end starter? That's where I'm at with a $21 million price tag. It's putting. I don't think Stroman is like a sure thing where you look at it and like, wow, we're going into this, these playoff series with such, you still don't have, he's not a true power pitcher that's, dominating in October.
He's not, but I bet you somebody will give him more than 21 million. That's the gamble he's got to make right now with his agent.
Yeah.
Like, does he just take the 21 million and he liked pitching at Wrigley? They let him do his thing, basically? Or does he say to himself, this is a weak pitching market. It's like Yamamoto and Aaron Nola's going to be out there, and heck, I might get $25 million next year.
Or is he someone that also tries to work out a longer, like a little bit longer contract with the Cubs for declines the
now
option?
you'd be talking the Cubs language.
But that's what I'm saying, like a smaller AAV, but a couple more years on a contract, a little bit more money overall, right?
Mid-30s.
Like
right?
that, is that a possibility too? You never know. So I think
you always err on the side of the player thinking they are better than they are, though, right? Like,
I guess for me, it's like
they have to be that confident.
that's the deal.
My own opinion wise, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I kind of hope he opts out because I just don't think the Cubs want to put Jordan Wicks in the bullpen, and Cade Horton, with the way that he is going through the minors, we could easily see him next year. And I don't know how they will want to bring him up, whether that's through the bullpen or like they did with Jordan Wicks this past year. But like they have a ton of guys. Ben Brown, if he doesn't get hurt at the end of last year, maybe we eventually would have seen him. Like, they have some dudes, and I know they're prospects, and I know that like they haven't proven anything, and Marcus Stroman has been doing his thing for years and years and years. But again, if you sign him, or if he opts out, then that allows you to sign a big power pitcher, which we talked about what they need, and then it still allows you to have space for one of those guys that I just mentioned for next year as well. And I just don't see Jordan Wicks being in the bullpen. And I say that if he opts in, will the Cubs still go sign a big name pitcher? I don't know.
Big Y, Yamamoto.
I just
Big Y.
Starting that nickname right now. We had Big Z. We're going for Big Y.
If Stroman opts in and then they go sign him, then it's Yamamoto, Steele, Stroman, Hendricks,
and then any other number
Shohei
of guys
the following year.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying you're also signing Ohtani at this
right?
point in time.
Sure.
Okay.
It's not my money. What's the Batman slogan, by the way? Not the hero we deserved.
Not the hero we deserve, but the hero we needed.
Let me tell you about the hero we deserve and need. Let me tell you about Hero Bread. Spectacular stuff. This stuff is so light, so fluffy. The flavor is so good. The texture is it's like biting into a cloud. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could bite into a white, fluffy cloud that floated across the sky, you'd say, wow, if that wasn't a bite of Hero Bread. What's great about it? Maybe you're looking to get a little more fiber in your diet, a little more protein in your diet. I'm not really a counting carbs guy. Probably should be. But maybe that'll help you out with that too. It's the taste, though, the texture. And the discount code for that first purchase, CHGO, gets you 10% off at hero.co. They make sliced breads, buns, and also tortillas. Maybe you want to throw together some nice fajitas this weekend. Huh? Some sizzling fajitas sound good right now.
They sound pretty good.
Tacos are always good, too.
I like fajitas, no peppers, by the way.
No peppers.
Just give me the onions.
Okay.
Crispy little poppy onion there. So,
cheese
anyways,
on
throw them together in some of these Hero tortillas. Boom. By the way, while you're at it, then throw in Charlie the Bacon Guy on top of that, and then you got yourself a fajita. So, anyway, secondary nutrition. Right now, Hero Bread is offering CHGO's family 10% off for the first order. Just go to hero.co, use the code CHGO to save on Hero Bread today. That's Hero, HERO.co to save 10% today. Highly recommended. Good stuff. Haven't tried the buns yet, but the bread and the tortillas make me believe that the buns will be just as good. And everybody loves a good set of buns.
I do like a good set of buns.
Yep.
They say that a hero can save us. Okay.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
Dub said it in the chat, and then I couldn't contain myself.
Barb says we should send Ryan for some ham, and we could have Hero sandwiches.
Joey's younger than me. Send Joey for some ham.
What is it? What did she have? Hero. You get the ham.
Tina Turner.
You get the ham.
So I sang Nickelback, and you just sang Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Okay. No one sings like me and Stuck unless we made a stop to Sunnyside first.
That's true.
Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your football season. No matter where you are on your cannabis journey, easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They have a great, transparent loyalty program called Sunnyside Rewards. It's Illinois' favorite dispensary. Got the location right in Wrigleyville, right by beautiful historic Wrigley Field. I walked right by it the other day. And thought about I need to make a stop in soon. So
I believe online they call that the Corey Friedman location.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. The people are saying they got the house of brands such as Mindy's, the best tasting gummy, and chocolate edibles created by James Beard Award-winning chef Mindy Siegel.
That's what Cody took before the show today, right, Barb?
What'd you say?
Is that what you ate before the show today that led you to give Stroman these grades, according to Barb?
Before he said that the Cubs won the Kimbrel trade?
Right.
No, that's not what you said?
That's not what I said.
Okay,
I feel like
never mind
if I did, I would have given Stroman a much nicer grade personally.
It's true.
Anyway, if I had, maybe it might have been Mindy's or Good News or Cresco, High Supply, Wonder, bunch of others. They have a great selection, guys. So through October 31st, head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your football season. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med Card holder. Once again, you use the code as many times as you want. As many times, not just one time, as many times as you want.
It is a Sunnyside Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Who's giving us the Sunnyside's Thursday vibes this week in Chicago sports?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Connor Bedard, like every week now.
Oh, I mean,
there's no bear that made us feel good.
It's got to be what's his name?
It's not Tyson
the quarterback.
Bagent?
Tyson Bagent?
Yeah, it's got to be Bagent. Agent.
Secret Bagent, man.
Secret Bagent, man.
That's when you know we're down bad, man.
Right now, he's giving us those vibes like, hey, the ball's out quick. Maybe this is the guy.
Yeah, I feel down bad at that.
Yeah.
I'm not with it, but I'm hoping for him.
I mean, I did see the video of him karaokeing "Lose Yourself" by Eminem,
and that changed. That gave you the vibes.
I will say, in that moment, I was like, "All right, I'll give him a game. Let's ride."
You're like rest of the season.
Yes,
I do. I do like that he told the coaches.
Yes,
like,
me too.
Just call whatever play. I know it all. I know everything.
Don't adjust anything for me. You don't need to cut that field in half.
I like it. I do.
Let's go.
That. Okay,
beige and orange. They should wear the orange jerseys.
No, they always lose in the orange jerseys.
Yeah, but beige and orange, like Agent Orange. Anyways. So that's who we're giving our Sunnyside Thursday. By the way, I seen in the live chat, do we have a super chat? I thought I saw a super chat coming from Chris. I hope they don't trade Alcantara. I love the sauce.
He does have the sauce. He's been killing it in
him and
Arizona Fall
League.
And Triantos, right? Triantos up in that trade value.
See, now that, a super chat, that might get you a few more stars right there. That probably is a start.
Chris cares about, getting a nice 5-star.
On the other hand, I think it was Craig. I'm not sure if it was Craig. Somebody said that my avatar looks younger than I do in person. That'll cost you two, big guy. That'll cost you two.
That sounds like something I would have said.
Unnecessary. shot below the belt, and it'll cost you 2 stars. All right, now we're grading Yan Gomes.
Okay.
We're going to go to the catcher position.
I feel like this will be pretty. I feel like we're all going to be pretty much the same.
Why don't we go Ryan first on this one?
Okay.
Is Joey able to?
Can we do that, Joey?
Can Joey handle that on the 1s and 2s? Of course he can.
Yeah, of course.
Of course he can.
Digital magic.
All right, let's see it. Here we go.
Dun, dun,
Do you want to say it or you want me to show it?
I like you showing it. I like people
It'd like to be revealed because mostly because he forgot the grade.
There you go.
Yeah, grade for Yan Gomes B. And now that I think about it, I think it could have been higher. I think it could have been like a B plus, A minus range.
Maybe,
but
if you had
maybe
some
B
sunny
plus.
side, you could have had
Interesting.
an A.
Maybe B plus. Maybe B plus would have been a little bit better of a grade. I'm fine with the B for him though, because I mean, you look at his offensive numbers is just completely outperformed anything we kind of expected of him this year, and that's something that like I feel like everyone talked about, right? Like whatever Yan can give you offensively is like
super big bonus.
It's just a bonus, or it's just gravy because of what he does. Like he's a World Series champion, obviously, longtime veteran, understands the game, understands how to be successful at this level. And as far as like game planning goes, like the soft factors of catching, like that is they truly value that on the Cubs. And you heard the same stuff last year. Like they really value it, and they really think he does a great job on that. And then I think where he just kind of outperformed our expectations is just offensively. I mean, you talk about a clutch guy from just the entire season, the guy that was the clutch guy. It was Yan Gomes, right? I feel like he got a big hit every time they needed it.
Yan Gomes game.
Yeah, you look at his numbers.
Had a lot of them.
I had a lot of them.
In high leverage moments, a 198 WRC plus. That's through 45 plate appearances, and that's according to Fangraphs. He was as clutch as they needed him to be. I mean, the numbers. He was still a sub league average hitter as far as like WRC plus goes. Is 95 overall. Wasn't worth the full win above replacement according to Fangraphs. Yeah, like I'm saying, I think B, when I did it, I was just thinking too low. I think it probably should have been higher, B plus, A minus range.
Rick DeHouse is all fired up.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, I said it as soon as
Nothing less than an A.
Okay.
Nothing less.
It could have been
possible that Rick DeHouse is Yan Gomes.
Perhaps.
Potentially.
Burner
I thought he was Morel yesterday.
But that's what when I said, like, I think when I started, B plus, A minus, B plus, A minus might have actually been a better grade. Probably would have been a better grades for Yan, considering just the catching stuff, doing what was asked of him, and then offensively just providing that veteran clutch gene. I think he outperformed what we thought he could be. So
you're changing yours to a B plus.
I'm gonna go A minus.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Well, what'd you even put the grade in for? Let the chat make your grades then.
No, I changed it.
Oh,
I
wow.
changed it before the chat even came up.
Kidding. Just messing with you.
Come on, Joe. Look at Joey's just throwing shots. He leaves us for like 6 months.
Well, it's because I was
Joey's
hoping
really come back firing.
I was
know,
hoping, that everyone would, do wrong by the chat, and then I could come in at the end and give Gomes an A plus, and then I'm the hero.
You chose Yan Gomes for like 50%
Exactly.
of your who you got.
Yes, exactly. He's my who you got legend, my hero, my hero bread. He's my hero bread. All right, here we go.
Who's next?
Who's next? I believe it's Cody's next.
Okay, I'll go next.
All right, Cody, go for
I
it.
don't remember what I said. Bring it up. I also went with a B. Well, okay. Like I said about
You want to change your grade too while you're at it?
No, I'll have some integrity. I'll stick with my guns. All right. Not that you don't have.
I said it. I
with it.
changed it before the grade before I even started talking. Like as soon as Joey put it on there, I said it was too low.
Okay.
Come on. Give me some
Oh, I
credit.
didn't say that you didn't have any integrity.
You basically did.
Well, okay. Well,
Yeah, the torches have been extinguished. They're not coming.
He
The
said,
mob's
no,
not
I
coming
have
for you.
integrity.
Joey, change mine to an A.
I can't put words in your mouth. I'm saying, as a man of integrity that I am, I will take the heat that will come my way, I assume. To me, it gets a B because, yes, he, like Brian said, he surpassed every expectation we have for him this year. He got back to some of his numbers he had with Washington and Cleveland at the back end of his tenure with Cleveland. Obviously, last year he wasn't very good offensively at all, and everything he gave you with the bat this year was great. You can't measure what he does with the pitching staff and all the stuff behind the plate and the framing and everything. But obviously it was better than the guy who left and said it was a better organization. But I guess I can't give him an A just because despite all of those things, I don't know. I still always felt like there was like it felt like in some aspects sometimes you felt like you were relying too much on him. He caught a lot of innings last season, and I feel like there were certain points of the year where you felt like you weren't getting enough out of him. And I'm just being fair here. It's not to say that he had a bad year or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. And maybe some of this is more on the Cubs. Maybe they should have played Amaya more. I don't know. But I think if he's going to be this productive again next year, that Miguel Amaya is going to have to really take a big step for the Cubs next year. Because, yeah, he's going to be 37 next year. And, but for the year alone, like, I give it a B just because it was a lot better than what we expected, but it's not like he made the all-star team or anything like that. So I feel like it's fair. Maybe it's a little low, but I'll stick to my guns.
Okay, B+ because he tackled Drew Smyly. I forgot. That just popped in my head.
And he tackled Drew Smyly and ruined the perfect
so
game.
That's the reasoning, not the chat pressure. It was
no B+. We're going back down.
You know what?
I'm not gonna just a partial letter grade.
Yeah.
Cody, why don't you tell us about Circa Sportsbook so that Joey's got time to change my grade to an A behind the scenes?
Well, Circa, I was wearing the hoodie yesterday. This is one of my favorite sportsbooks out there, right? They got, one of the things I love about them, and me and Kevin Kaduk, our head of content we were talking about earlier, they have almost all of the lines or the odds for them. It's -110 for almost every bet. You go on other sports books, it could be like -115, -120, -130, whatever. Circa strives to be -110 for almost every even bet that they're spread, whatever that they're putting out there. And I enjoy that because sometimes whenever it's like -115 or -120, sometimes you want to put a little bit more down that you don't want to put down. And with Circa, they don't make you do that, right? So that's nice. And another thing is they don't limit people. If you get red hot like I did this week on college football, they ain't going to take away any kind of winnings from you or, opportunities to make extra money based off boosts and stuff like that, while other sportsbooks might do that. So that's another reason why I like them. And then finally, their customer service is top-notch. A lot of them use chatbots. Circa, you're talking to people. You're talking to those people in Vegas or those people in Waukegan, and they will help you whenever you have an issue. Maybe they accidentally didn't pay you for the bet that you won. That's happened to me before. But when you have an issue, they're quick and they get it done, and that's what makes them great. So download the Circa Sports app at circasports.com/Illinois/app to sign up today. Also, be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, text GAMB to 833-234, or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
Hey guys, Goose Island, the official beer of CHGO, Chicago's beer since 1988. They have the Oktoberfest right now, the Beer Hug family, 312 full pocket Pilsner, and all you can drink at our tailgate right now.
Oh, yeah.
Don't miss out.
Don't want to miss it.
Raiders, Bears, tailgate. This Sunday.
I had a couple of 312s at the tailgate on Sunday.
Couple nice 312s?
Yeah, a couple 2-3. 312s.
Grab Ultra Fresh brewery exclusive beers at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer. Looking forward to the tailgate this weekend. We have that one coming up, and is there one more after that?
One more after that, I believe.
Yeah. So,
okay.
beige and orange. Get your jerseys now. All right, so we're grading Yan Gomes. We went B+ is what Ryan's going with now.
Sticking with B+.
And I went with B.
And you went with B.
Yeah.
And Joey, you want to reveal my grade here for Yan Gomes? There it is, B. Joey did not change it. I will stick with the B. Why am I sticking with the B? Because partially of what what Cody was saying. It's the way I believe we're grading. It's at least the way I'm grading, okay? Did he exceed all expectations? Yes. So if you're just grading that on, like, what did I expect out of this guy this season, then he's an A. He's an A. He was better than what I expected. The pitching staff, he was a huge part of the decision to move on from Willson, right? It was that this is how the guy's going to call the game. This is how he's going to help our young pitchers. This is how he's going to help us be better in the defensive part of the game, calling the game, framing the pitches, yada, yada. Offensively, though, he was way better than we expected him to be this season. However, if I'm just grading it on that, it's an A. But if I'm grading him against every other catcher in baseball, well, then I'm not going to just give him an A because he's not the best catcher in baseball. He was better than we expected. Yeah. He was everything we wanted. Yeah. So he lived up to the hype for us. That's why I went B. Just like you, I fell right in between there. I guess I could have gone as high as a B+, but keep in mind, when you look at the stats, for so many of us going into the season, that it was the obvious comparison. We're going to watch what is Gomes doing and what is Contreras do. Well, first of all, Contreras made $17.5 million on average, and Gomes makes like $6.5 million on average. Okay, so one guy's considerably cheaper, so lower your expectation there. Gomes played 116 games. Willson played 125 for the Cardinals. Gomes was 10 points higher in batting average. 10 more homers for Contreras, 20 versus 10. The RBI, by the way, 63 and 67, both really close, so Gomes just loses out there. F4, 2.4 for Willson, 0.9 for Gomes. Okay, not much of a difference. And then WRC plus, 95 versus 127. Okay, offensively, Willson had a better season than Yan Gomes. But it's not like...
Didn't they also move him to left field?
Exactly. The guy wasn't even playing catcher half the time. At one point, pitchers in St. Louis were revolting and saying, I'm not throwing to that guy anymore. You can only play him in the outfield. Did this work out for the Cubs this season, yes or no?
Yes.
That's why,
Luke, I was going to say...
That's why I can see his B+ grade.
Gomes is such a satisfying passing grade for me. I can't even remember who the last catcher was before him. He's been.
You don't remember his name.
He was such a treat to watch, in my opinion. Obviously not. I love Willson. I always will. But Gomes was an absolute professional. Yeah, came in when there was a lot of question marks. He was. I just the way that he handled the pitching staff was so phenomenal from top to bottom. Young guys, veterans. He hit. He was clutch, and I just think. Yeah, if you're grading him on the rest of the league curve, he's probably a B+. But
thank you
for the expectations of if you're grading him relative to what you thought, I think he's an A because
it depends what
you just got you really what you got, and you didn't like you said, you didn't really lose anything from departing from the guy that had been your backstop and looked like he was going to be for years to come.
It looked like the right move. Yeah. It looks like they made the right move. Yeah, and I will say this. Also, it depends on your grading scale. It also depends on what you consider a good grade. Again, I'll say it 1,000 times. If I got a B in school, folks, I was doing cartwheels on the way home. Yeah. Not all of us went to Texas like, Joey. Mm-hmm. Not all of us went to Michigan like Corey. Some of us went to the Mizzou. Harvards of the Midwest. Yeah. And,
you went to the Duke of the Midwest.
I went to the Duke of the Midwest. But, if I got a C, that's a passing grade, baby. What's wrong? Nothing wrong with a C.
Hey, you look at it like an AP scale, man. You're taking an AP class, a B is still really good grade in that class.
Better believe a B is a good grade.
And it's the Chicago Cubs. It's basically an AP class.
I don't hand out A's just to give them away. Justin Steele. I can't give Justin Steele and Yan Gomes the same grade. No, I can't.
No, you can't do that. I think
it's a good point.
Again, Gomes lived up to any high expectation that anyone might have had for him, which no one did. And you brought up Wilson's offensive stats. Another thing about Willson is the dude, he entered trade conversation middle of the season. It didn't happen, but it got rumored out there that the Cardinals were going to try and trade him because he wasn't doing all of these things that you can't measure for the Cardinals pitching staff. All those things that I guess Yadier Molina was so great, and it makes him a Hall of Fame candidate.
Nobody wanted that Contreras deal.
Yeah. For what the Cubs need out of their catcher, he did everything great. And if it was just based off that, I'd probably give him an A. But again, wasn't an all-star, wasn't anywhere close to the best player on the team or anything like that. He just did his role really well. Yeah. So I think that's why for me he gets a B. It's not like he was the real reason or the main reason that the Cubs would go out there and win every day. You know what I mean?
He had a really good season for a veteran catcher.
Yeah, and he's a guy that the Cubs are going to be more than comfortable bringing back next year.
That was my next question. It was just like with Steele. Let's finish with this. Do you think Yan Gomes will have the same season next year, a better season next year, or we'll start to see the regression?
Well, it's kind of like what I was saying. There's no way that they can expect him to do the same amount of workload next year. Amaya is going to have to be someone who gets a real opportunity to take over that role. I personally would like to see Amaya play well enough in the spring to where he earns an opening day start. That's what I would like to see, because he definitely has the potential to be a better bat. Yeah. The only thing defensively, I guess you can somewhat measure from Amaya that scares me is he had a lot of balls go past him. He let a lot of
and opening day is usually a tip of the cap too,
right? But I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Gomes is the open day catcher. He's a veteran catcher. David Ross is the manager. Blah blah blah. All I'm saying is by the end of next year, I hope that Miguel Amaya has more innings tracked than Yan Gomes. But that still doesn't mean that I want that to happen because Gomes isn't playing well. It's just more of I think you get more consistent and better offensive production on top of what he does for the young pitchers and everything like that at probably a better a more sustainable rate.
Yeah. And with Miguel Amaya, just this year was so weird as far as his.
Well, yeah, and he was coming off the injury and everything.
I think he caught 12 or 13 games in the last 3 years combined. He wasn't catching in 2022 when he came back, and it just wasn't you didn't really know what to expect out of him. Now you're going to get a whole off season, working, catching, all that stuff, spring training, whatever it is. I think, and then obviously a whole 162 to sort of show he can hit in the major league level and stuff like that. I think you're going to see a lot more of Miguel Amaya next season, as long as he's playing well, right? As long as he earns the playing time, you'll see it because, if it's going to be just Yan Gomes and Miguel Amaya, they're going to need Miguel Amaya to play a lot. But you also want to see the development at the major league level and showing that he could be Yan Gomes. He's not 27, right? He's on the older side of 30, 36, something like that.
36 right now. Yeah. I don't know when his birthday is.
Yeah.
But
so Miguel Amaya is, if you're looking at guys right now that are major league ready, Miguel Amaya is that catcher of the future. I know Moises Ballesteros may end up usurping him for that or whatever, but Yan Gomes is not, right? They need Miguel Amaya to show that he can help carry the mantle for catcher going into next season, if 2025. I mean, if Yan Gomes isn't still with the Cubs or just beyond, right? They're gonna need Miguel Amaya to show that to prove to them that they can be comfortable having him be that catcher for them for however many years that lasts.
He turns 37 in July of next year, so he'll still be 36.
36 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So so you never know. You never know how many years Yan Gomes has left. I mean, you guys were talking about sounding like he
could be the Tom Brady
retiring during his
based
interview.
Off that last
it was just
game,
an odd response.
Yeah,
he was like, no guarantee I'm here, and it was huh?
So that's what I'm saying. He's if you're already having thoughts that is this guy talking about retiring? He's not a young guy. You don't know how many years you have left with him. Next year is going to be the time for Miguel Amaya to show he can take that mantle from.
He's back now. Now that Cody and I gave him B's, he's got a chip on his shoulder going into next year. You're welcome. Credit to us.
Hey, I hope Stroman does too, if he opts in and he's on the team next.
Super Chat $4.99 from Fernando. Before we go, I'm back from my sabbatical from all things Cubs. I'm ready. I'm in. Just renewed tickets for 2024. Let's go Cubs and Cubs CHGO Ohtani 2024. Thank you very much.
Give me a couple weeks.
Fernando most likely gets you a 5-star review next week. Foco, Get fitted out with the best sports gear around, hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. They've got the Aloha shirts, the straw hats, the polos, everything you need for a game. Check out our set decorations. Where else are you going to get that Wesneski bobblehead? Strictly Foco. Let me tell you, that's where. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. And right after you do that, head on over to allchgo.com and make sure you pick up your CHGO diehard membership. Another way to get one of those 5 stars when you're getting reviewed here in the chat, just letting you know. You also get 20% off all our events all the time. All the merch we have, all our dope merch, 20% off all the time. You get a free shirt when you become a member. You get the Discord where you can hang out with Gary and Cody and Ryan and me. By the way,
Luke. Eventually.
Yeah. We also want to tell you about this because a lot of the diehards show up all the time to the tailgates, right? You get a couple hundred people out there. Last tailgate they did this. We're going to do it again this Sunday and the one after that. X Golf is giving away a $200 gift certificate to any of the Chicagoland locations. Find the X Golf location nearest you at playxgolf.com/Chicagoland. Check it out. So that's something to look forward to this weekend. The guy that got it this weekend was pretty excited, huh? $200.
Yeah, he was excited.
Brett from the softball team, right?
Say that again?
I thought it was Brett that won.
I'm not sure who won. I wasn't
sure.
paying attention.
Member of the softball team.
I saw him like the social media.
Yeah,
post.
he's an esteemed member of the
I think it
softball
was
team.
Brett. I think you're talking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good player. He's got good mitts out there in the infield. Stucky, this comment here, Craig says you are the Tom Brady of CHGO.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Why exactly? Are you a great quarterback? Are you taking such
You're calling
great...
me the Tom Brady?
Yeah, are you taking amazing
Craig
care
did.
of your body here?
It's because Tom Brady's old.
Or is he?
Oh, because I'm the GOAT and I'm
because he's
undeniably good looking.
He's
Thanks for checking
aging
out the
and
CHGO.
you're
Craig is out here trying to earn extra stars.
Well, because of
Which I
the
respect.
comment. Because of the comment earlier.
What's your method? He's got
But
the
that
TB12. You've got the what? The Stucky. The
Avatar looked younger than I do.
It's because Tom Brady's also old. That's
now that you're comparing me
Tom
to
Brady's
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is
46
aging
now.
magically. Is what he's doing.
All right, we have to grade a chat member before we leave.
You want to do one right now?
Yeah.
Craig, 5 stars. We should do Colada. Colada should be the first grade ever.
His name is Godfather
The
CHGO.
Godfather of the
Godfather.
CHGO Cubs podcast. So what was the criteria we had?
We had a
attendance.
Attendance.
I'm going to give him a star there because he's here when he doesn't have plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
or in Florida.
Oh yeah.
He's either informed or funny. There's 2 stars. That was another grade, right?
Sure.
Is he a
Perhaps.
diehard? I believe Colada
Diehard,
is a diehard.
yes.
He joined us.
Correct.
in
Now
our,
he's got 3 stars.
Yep. He joined us in our
That's
happy hour
3
that
of
one time.
5.
What were the other ones?
Vibes. The vibe star, I think.
I don't think that was one of the criteria. I can't remember what they all
I
were.
assumed it
We
was.
need
I
the
don't-
graphic. Sarah made us the graphic.
does Colada agree with me? That was one. There's 4
I don't
stars
think
for
he
Colada.
doesn't
I
agree
don't
with
think
Colada
he
always
agrees with either of us.
He started the show by saying, I agree with Luke.
But
I saw it.
he always with the grades. He's saying you're going too high in some of those.
Robert
grades.
Fox says I'm the
I have to
greatest
not-
loser of all
I-
time, the gloat.
Yeah.
I
I'll
have
get you
I
0
have to
stars.
push back on the does he agree with it? He rarely agrees with us.
Yeah, maybe half a star on that one.
I'm just we have to be fair to everyone, Stuck.
He agreed with me. I can't. I mean, he agreed
But
with
he
me.
never agrees with us.
Okay, what was the 5th star? The 5th.
I don't
criteria?
remember. We had a graphic built, and Joey probably can't find it now.
I think I deleted
It
it.
might
The
be in Cub
criteria.
Slack. It might be in
Sarah,
Cub
do you
Slack.
remember the 5th criteria?
What were the 5 criteria? Agree with
for grading
me.
fans?
Oh, attendance? Question mark.
Attendance, die hard.
Diehard, super chat, or merch?
Does he have the merch? That was it. Does he do a
Funny
super
or
chat? He
Well, he's a
doesn't
diehard, so he has a free shirt.
do- Colada doesn't
Gotcha.
do the super chats, but he does have merch.
Does
Funny
that
or
match?
informed? Yes.
Colada's a 5-star.
Agree with
The Godfather's a 5-star chat member.
Okay.
What would we be without Michael Colada?
That's
Just
true.
3
He is the Godfather.
Just 3 jokers sitting here talking into microphones.
Yeah.
We're an actual podcast
right.
because we've got Michael Colada. Let's be honest.
I was just being fair, but I agree.
5 stars.
5 stars
5-star
for the
for
Godfather.
Colada. Congrats.
We don't agree on it much of anything, Godfather, but you're here every day, and we appreciate that.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
for
him.
sure. He's been here for a long time.
Yeah, since
I'm-
day one,
I think, right?
probably.
Right around
I
there.
don't know.
I don't want to brag, but I'm a 5-star host. I have been called the Tom Brady of this podcast. Thanks
you-
for checking out the CHGO
you do have
Cubs
at least 4
podcast.
Emmys.
We cannot go into the weekend with that. In
You do have at least 4 Emmys.
That's right.
At least 4.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. We're back for a live show, 1:20 on Monday. Tomorrow at 1:20, the Corey Brendan episode of Cubs Related comes out, so they'll be here tomorrow at 1:20.
We record it, so
it just won't be live, Barb.
It won't be live. Not live tomorrow, but we'll be live Monday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where we might grade one of you in the live chat.
And I might be here or I might not be here.
Cody might be on
have
jury duty.
I might have jury duty, which fuck me, but whatever.
What a way to end the show. Until next time, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.